Kevin, great to have you on here, and I know you've been kind of alerting your clients and trying to kind of reinforce some defenses here for them. What are you seeing at this point as we brace for various types of hostile online activity, and of what sort?
Well, Mike, thanks for having me on the show. I can tell you, we've been over in the Ukraine for years, and you have to be in the hot zones to see what the aggressors and the offense is doing in cyber. So we've been operating in the Ukraine to primarily see what Russian military and Russian intelligence organizations do when they have a cyber campaign. And what we've seen over in the Ukraine is destructive attacks masquerading as ransomware. We've seen what's called distributed denial of service attacks, which is essentially like somebody dialing 911 5,000 times and just jamming the phone lines. And then, of course, you see influence operations or disinformation campaigns to misinform Ukrainian citizens, saying things like, hey, the banks aren't working and things like that to undermine confidence in major systems. We're seeing it largely contained, though, just in the Ukraine for now. And obviously the big concern is, does the cyber domain and the cyber campaign permeate outside of the region and into other areas?
Right. And have you seen it really intensify, let's say, over the last couple of days? And also, I think the bigger concern perhaps is as an instrument of really, warfare, of infrastructure attacks and things like that.
Right. Well, there's no question, Mike, when a modern nation mobilizes for war, they've got options in air, land, and sea, and then in cyber. And when you go to cyber, you immediately think, well, what can people do in the cyber domain? And they will go for, if they want to cause mass damage or undermine confidence, they will go for what's called operational technology, or the OT environments. That's water, that's utilities. Those are the factories that we use to manufacture things. So that is definitely, as they say, an arrow in the quiver that people could, deploy at some point. But we have not seen that kind of escalation yet.
We're seeing your stock up and all the cyber stocks up, Kevin.
Right.
Are you seeing preemptive spending from companies like financials or other companies that might be in the crosshairs here in the U.S. or in the West, bracing for more intense cyber attacks from Russia?
Well, absolutely. Whenever there's conflict, that's why security exists. Whether it's geopolitical differences, criminal element, or in this case, actual conflict, you're going to see organizations and nations think, it's an opportunity to escalate. It's an opportunity to do community defense. So without a doubt, the interesting thing about the cyber domain is it's protected primarily by the private sector. Air, land, and sea is protected by governments. So the private sector is going to take a positive bump in regards to value during times of conflict like this.
Kevin, should we take any comfort in the fact that we haven't seen anything kind of spill over beyond what you might have anticipated, or anything that seems like it's actually been destructive to daily life at this point, or is it still just kind of, in the trenches and we just don't know the magnitude of it yet?
No, I think we'd know. I don't know if I'd take comfort. I would be constantly vigilant. And that's what I think we are as a nation here in the United States and in Europe. Everybody's watching, wondering specifically what might trigger an escalation in the cyber domain. Could it be economics? Could it be the kinetic aspect of this? Nobody really knows. And then once it does trigger, Mike, the concern will be, do we go to absolute melee in cyberspace, where just every attack that's at the disposal of Russian offense is launched, or is it going to be more gradual incrementalism? My gut, it'll be more gradual incrementalism, a few shots across the bow. But one thing I'm confident is it won't be secret. We will see it when it happens. We'll know it when it happens. So the question just is, will we see an escalation in cyber? But that first wave, we're going to notice it, and you're going to be reporting on it.